We are open.
Thank you. We will start the January 21st, 2026 Broome County Industrial Development Agency Governance Committee meeting. I will call the meeting to order, and the first order of business is the conflict of interest. I need one of the forms back because I don't know what to say. As we begin today's meeting, I'd like to remind everyone of our duty to act in the best interest of this organization in keeping with our conflict of interest policy. I ask that each board member disclose any actual, potential, or perceived conflict related to the matters on today's agenda. If you believe you may have a conflict, please state it now, so it can be noted in the minutes. If a conflict arises during the discussion, please bring it to our attention immediately. If conflict is identified, the board member must exit the meeting while the item is being discussed. Transparency protects both the integrity of our decision-making and the trust placed in this board.
I thought of potential conflicts. I advised the executive director and council. That was council's opinion. I do not have a legal conflict, but I noted it just for the sake of clarity. I noted it on the form, and I'll abstain just to avoid any appearance of impropriety.
Okay, thank you. It'll be good to have you in the room for the discussion. Okay, we are at the point in the meeting where we will have our public comment.
Minutes.
Minutes. Boy, I'm not very good at this.
Okay, perfect.
Second agenda item is accept the minutes from our October 15th, 2025 meeting. Those minutes have been sent out in advance. If I could please have a motion. Motion. Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, now we've come to the point in the meeting for public comment on items pertaining to the governance committee. If you wish to speak, please state your name and place of residence and kindly limit your comments to 5 minutes.
I'm John, live in Bennington. Like to compliment this newfound conflict of interest statement. November 4th, I believe, was the first meeting that this was a thing, and I've been big on this. For decades, I've been big on the interlocked boards of this community. And it creates conflict. Let's talk about how it perhaps created a conflict with this agency. John Bernardo, 5 different SEP entities. His day job was at SEP. Thomas Della Penna, SEP board member. You bought property from Thomas Della Penna at a premium. Stacy on the board of SEP. So who's beholden to who and at what time? That's the question. And it's all the fault of people hogging all these board seats. I have never seen in 30 years a casting call for board members. I've never seen one community institution say, well, we're looking for board members, you know, maybe he has memory of it. But you know, this is very strange. And it's what tipped the alarm bell for me was 3 years ago when SEP bought the Caroline Arms apartment, which was owned by the Bernardo family. And they bought it. And this was a departure because normally they do readaptive use. They do new projects. This was stood out. And it stood out so bad that Bernardo couldn't buy the property as an executive director for SEP. He had Dan Schofield, the secretary of SEP, do it. So this is really a problem. And it's a problem of too few people being involved in this community. And the conflicts are enormous. Let me go back to the Bennington Local Development Corporation. There was actually a banker's block there, 4 bankers. And when you went to see a banker, they would give you, well, we'll give you a loan, but go to the BLDC and get 50,000 from them as part of the package. And I mean, I dug up the emails on that. And while they wouldn't vote for each other's project, you know, they would abstain, the one that had the project, but the other ones would vote. So it's time for this community to face facts, because we don't have that many mega institutions. You've got a hospital, you know, you just don't have it. And it's time for these boards themselves to start nominating more people, or go to less board seats. And the relationship between this board and the LDC, Dick DiTilio called it a mirror image. And to me, if you ever had to have a veil pierced, it would not be a great case to say that the LDC and the IDA are independent bodies, because they're not. So somebody's got to clean something up sometime. Thank you.
Okay, first agenda item, review, discussion, recommendation of a resolution authorizing the executive director to engage Colliers to redevelop the Huron campus in Endicott in accordance with a master facilities plan and redevelopment strategy. Basically.
Yes, good morning, committee members. I believe it was last spring, the board approved funds in the amount of $75,000 for the purposes of pursuing a master facility strategy for the redevelopment of the Huron campus in the village of Endicott. We also sought matching funds from New York State through a strategic planning and feasibility grant, which we were successful in receiving. This fall, we issued requests for qualifications to firms who could help us lead a master facility plan for the campus, in partnership and full support of Phoenix Investors, the owners of the Huron campus. After vetting numerous qualifications, we put for you for consideration today a proposal from Colliers Engineering and Design and the team that they have assembled to conduct this planning study. Really, the goals of this would be to take a look at all of the current space whether underutilized or utilized, look at vacant lots, really look at the entirety of the 136 campus, understand what potential future uses could be, what fit out costs and needs would be, to look at potential industry targets, and again, how that translates to how the campus could be redesigned and ultimately modernized to support future investment and as well potential uses outside of just industrial uses, so potentially a mixed use campus. The reason why we are selecting Colliers is significant knowledge of the region, specifically within the village of Endicott. They have been engaged in crafting the village's, I think it's called their strategic investment plan, when the village received their $10 million downtown revitalization initiative award. They are also currently conducting the Village of Endicott's Brownfield Opportunity Area Study, or BOA study, which of course the campus is central to. So they have a very strong working knowledge of the village. They also have a strong relationship with the Village of Endicott, historical experience working there. And we think that they will be able to lead this effort very successfully for us. Ultimately, the goal is not just a facility plan, but to line this up for future funding, whether it be through New York State's FAST program or other state or federal funds that could help really focus on the infrastructure needs and the fit out needs to make this essentially a shovel ready campus, if you will. Colliers brings a multidisciplinary team. Colliers focuses on engineering and design and economic development planning. They've also assembled a team that includes EDR out of Syracuse, LaChase Construction, and Entrust, who that name might sound familiar because Entrust is doing the work on the energy capacity analysis for us. They've done an interconnection report for us for the tech park and subsequent setup for the ISO study. So have strong background in energy infrastructure. So we think they have a strong multidisciplinary team, strong knowledge of the area, specifically with the Village of Endicott, and good working relationships with the necessary stakeholders. So we would advance this proposal for your consideration, and I'm happy to take any questions on this.
From the committee. Stacy, could you just elaborate on the team approach? So they've assembled this team. Our contract for the development of the strategic plan is with Colliers.
Correct.
And then they're responsible for that relationship
With their
with these
subcontractors.
subcontractors.
Correct.
Do we have any say in them changing these subcontractors? Or, so we're obviously impressed with the folks that they've named, but our contract is with Colliers.
Our
Does it
contract.
specify that this is the team they're going to stick with?
At this point in time, this would be the team that they have assembled and would begin to work with. If they found reasons for, at some point in time, to need to make a change. Typically, that's handled, the lead agency would handle that work directly with a subcontractor. And certainly, we would have input if we ran into any issues that we felt were troublesome, but typically that is handled, our contract would be directly with Colliers.
Any other questions? I just had, the resolution I found a little confusing, and I just wonder if it wouldn't be better to add, where we say engage Colliers to redevelop. If we could insert in there to conduct a study to analyze and make recommendations for the potential redevelopment, because it's not.
They're not, yes.
Just to clarify, this is not a redevelopment, and it's just giving us information to further make, and they will be making recommendations in this.
All right, but I'm gonna have to ask you to read.
Sure.
word.
Engage
Conduct a
Colliers
study
to conduct a study to analyze and make recommendations
Okay.
for the potential redevelopment.
Perfect. Okay. All right, we can do that.
There's no other questions or comments. I'll ask for a motion to approve this item.
Motion.
Thank you, Kevin. Is there a second?
That'd be great.
I'll second. All those in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Thank you.
Oh,
Okay, agenda item 5, review, discussion, recommendation of a resolution accepting an application from Firehouse Holdings LLC, providing a sales and use tax exemption benefit in an amount currently estimated not to exceed $63,426.80 to renovate and restore an existing historic fire hall building at 15 Avenue B in the village of Johnson City and making the required seeker findings. Stacy?
okay. For your consideration this morning is a small business incentive program application from Firehouse Holdings LLC. Representative is Justin Giles, a local business owner who owns the property at 15 Avenue B in the village of Johnson City. The purpose of the request and description of the project includes the rehabilitation and restoration of existing downtown building to accommodate the evolving future needs of Johnson City. The project will include both residential and commercial elements. 6 market rate apartments will be created, all 1-bedroom units on the second floor and basement level. First floor will be utilized for commercial space. Spaces will be designed to house potentially tenants who may want to create retail storefronts, food and beverage services, office space, or other uses. Multiple potential tenants have expressed interest in leasing those spaces. A little bit on some of the construction work. The exterior facade of the building will be cleaned and restored to evoke historic purpose of the structure. This was an old Village of Johnson City firehouse, if you're not familiar with the building. New asphalt parking and driveway will be installed on the side and rear of the building. Energy efficient HVAC, electrical and plumbing will be utilized throughout the building in order to comply with decarbonization requirements. Total project costs are $1,319,725. The value of the New York State and local sales tax exemption from the IDA would be $63,426.80. And the investment will result in the creation of 1 new FTE, full-time employee. Any questions?
I don't have any questions.
No.
If there are no questions, I'll ask for a motion.
Motion. And I can second.
Thank you, Jim. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Agenda item 6, we will review, discussion, recommendation of a resolution accepting an application from Vir Fidelis LLC, providing a sales and use tax exemption benefit to the company in an amount currently estimated not to exceed $9,600 to renovate and restore an existing residential unit building at 5 Gray Street, Binghamton, and making the required seeker findings. Stacy.
Okay. The application from Vera Fidelis, Representative Daniel Clark has an application for a project located in the city's first ward. I believe this property is, I'm not sure if it's totally within the recent downtown revitalization award district or just immediately outside of that boundary, but it's located very near the recently awarded Clinton Street DRI project. 5 Grace Street is an 8-unit building, again, located in the first ward of Binghamton, and it does say, I'm sorry, within the Clinton Street DRI. 7 of the 8 units are currently vacant, causing the property to be foreclosed in 2024. Vera Fidelis LLC has purchased the property and will renovate 7 of the 8 units and return them to the housing market. Significant electric and plumbing improvements are needed throughout. They will also install new siding, new windows, and other exterior aesthetic improvements. Total project cost is $220,000, and value of New York State and local sales tax exemption is $9,600. The investment will result in 12 construction jobs, 7 to 14 FTEs occupying the 7 units, which would be, in our purposes, those would be considered indirect jobs, but direct jobs would be the 12 construction jobs created during the renovation. Any questions?
Questions? Just hearing, reading it, renovating 7 of the 8 units, 7 of the 8 are vacant. Is this implying that there's a current tenant who's gonna stay on premises? Do you know?
That is our understanding. Natalie, did Dan reference that specifically? It's my understanding that that tenant will be remaining at the apartment, but we can confirm.
Do we know if at some point in time that unit will be renovated or it's not part of this project?
I don't believe it's part of this scope of this project.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions out of the committee? Now I'll ask for a motion to approve. Motion. Second. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Also is approved. That brings us to the end of the agenda for governance. And I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.